the first thing is to turn it on, which is on this side. There is an on-off button here, you can see.
Yeah.
You turn it on. It starts the control panel and turns on the light. Okay, so first we need to assemble the microtome.
Yeah.
So first we have this, which is called the ice tray,
Nice tree.
which is to put ice if you need to keep the samples cold, which I don't think it's our case. And you can see here it has like a slide, so you can put this in here,
Yeah.
like this, all the way up. And here you have the, to tighten this in position, it's like a lever, so you just push it, like that. Not too hard, just until you feel some resistance.
Okay.
And then you can see it's fixed. Then this is called the buffer, and yeah, it's called like that because here you pour a solution to keep the cross sections in a solution, so that they don't go bad. For example, it could be water, could be some sort of phosphor solution, depending on the cross section. You might need something here to keep the cross sections alive, for example, if you are working with live tissue. In our case, because it's roots and they are dead, it doesn't matter, we just use water, DI water. But it could be anything as long as it's not corrosive or toxic. This is just for non-toxic and non-corrosive buffers or solutions. And here it has 4 magnets, and this is a magnetic as well in the tray. So you just need to put it here between these 3 pillars or whatever.
Okay.
And like that, and that's it. This is the where you stick the sample, where you glue the sample. So we will put this last. And then we have 2 tools here. This is called the manipulator because you have to manipulate the sample with this. So here you can see that you can screw this here, like that, and then you can put the sample inside. This is also a magnet, and this is magnetic, so when you put this here, it gets in place, and then you unscrew it, and that's it.
Okay.
But this is for later. First, I will show you how to mount the blade here. So for that, we need this, which is called the Allen, I think, key. Yes. So first thing, we need to open here. These are 2 plates that hold the blade in place. So first we need to use a blade, and you can use a half blade like this,
Okay.
or you can use a full one, because you can just mount it here between the plates. First I need to open. So to open, you need to put this here, and then you open it. You see that it closes and opens. And here you also have, you see it says minus and plus. So to the left it closes, and to the right opens. Yes. So when it's open, you can put the blade like this, or you can just put a half blade the same way. If you are going to use a half blade, cut with a scissor. Cut here. This you see that this is like, it's like curved. It's not straight. You see, and that makes it hard to adjust. So you just cut there and there, and then it's easy to mount. So you just put it in the middle like before, like that, and then with the Allen you put it all the way here, and then to the right. So you see that it's adjusted.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it too strong, just enough until it's firm, and then you take it out. So now we need to adjust the angle of the blade because it's up, right? So we need to, here you see that there is a hole, you see here? So you insert the blade, the key, sorry, and then you turn and it moves down. And then here you can see that there are 3 white marks. So the standard position of the blade, because you can, for example, do cross sections like this, like this, you can choose the angle. But the standard position is when you, so you see 1, 2, 3. The first one you shouldn't be able to see it. The second one should be in the middle, and then the last one you can see it. And that's the standard position. Yes, the most common position to use. Okay, so now we have almost everything ready. Oh, this is a bit yes, good. Everything in position. So now we have to prepare the sample. So I have some roots here, which are mounted in 5% agar.
5%.
Yes. So to take them out, I just use an old blade, for example, and just cut the agar. Oops. That was a bit too strong. But it's out. So, if you, for example, have this, it's a bit slippery. You have this cube of agar, and we put it here. Because it's too tall, when the blade starts to move, it will do like this. It won't cut, but it will bend it. Because it's very tall. So if this is here, and the blade goes like this, it won't cut, it will push. So we have to cut the root to 1 centimeter.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's too tall. In my case, I will do it in the middle. So I will just cut. And when you are cutting the agar, don't do like this. You have to use it like a knife. You have to cut like this. Because if you push, you can pop out the root from the agar. You need to do it like a knife, and that way you are safe that the root will stay inside the agar. Okay, so I will show you. So you have to do like this. You see? So I will cut more, like that. And now we have our sample, more or less a good size. And you have to make sure that the root it's in the middle of the agar. In this case, you can see that it's closer to one side.
Yeah.
So in this case, if the root's in the middle, then it's fine. You don't have to do anything in particular. But if the root is closer to one side of the agar, you need to make sure that the blade is facing closer to the root. And you have a lot of agar behind. If you put it like this, if you cut, maybe the root will pop out. So you need to make sure that the root is closer to the blade, if it's not in the middle. Okay, so now what we need is the sample plate, or yes, I think that's how it's called. And then we need this super glue, which is a fast drying glue, so we don't have to spend too much time waiting for the, because we need to stick
Yeah.
this cross section here,
Yes.
we use this special glue, and you just need to add 1 drop. It's not a lot, so you just do like this. I don't even squeeze. I just do like this, and that's it. That's enough. And then you grab your sample, and don't, so if you are going to put the root like this, like we just talked about, you have the hole here for this. So if you stick it here and then you screw it here, when you place it here, it's going to, you don't have space.
Yeah.
So make sure that the hole is on the side or here. You see?
Yeah.
It can be like that. So to stick it, you just put it like that, and then you move it a bit to the sides, and then we have to wait, I don't know, 5 minutes or something like that. In the meantime, and the idea of this tool is so that you don't have to put your fingers inside here, because you can cut.
Yeah.
So you never put your finger inside. Always use this manipulator. So we place it like this, and then we unscrew, and that's it. And in the meantime, while this dries, so we can cut, I will show you how to use the control panel. Speed means how fast the microtome moves. Cut like this. If you want to change the speed, you have to press speed, so the light is on, and then when this, you just increase or decrease. You see?
Yeah.
The faster it moves, so the settings depend on your sample. So for example, when I was cutting the dry roots after the radial water loss, the roots are hard because they are dry. So if I move the arm very fast, the cross section didn't look good. It looked like something did like this and didn't cut. It just pushed a bit, so it didn't look good. So if the sample is a hard sample, you need to reduce the speed. Because now we are going to use fresh roots that are not dry. The tissue is soft, so we don't have to do it too slow. But in reality, there is no right or wrong setting. You have to do a few cross sections, see how they look, and then you have to adjust based on what you see. It always depends on the tissue, and it also depends on how sharp the blades are as well. If they are very crappy blades that don't cut very well, you need to do it slowly or things like that. So you have to see how the cross section looks and then change. Now what I will do is I will just put the speed in 1 to see how it looks. So I move it to 1 like that. And then here we have another one which says ample, which is amplitude for short. So you press. And what this means is that the microtome does 2 things. It moves front, and at the same time it does like this to cut. So it does like this. It's not only this. It's 2 movements. It's front and to the sides to cut. So the amplitude means how much it moves. A short amplitude means that it does like this. So the speed is this movement, front, and the amplitude is the cutting. So if you have a small amplitude, the cuts will be like this, very short. If you have larger amplitudes, it will do like this. And that also depends on how hard the tissue you are cutting is, because if the tissue is really hard, maybe you need to do a lot of small movements so you can cut it. But at the same time, if you do a lot of cutting, maybe the cross-section will look, I will show you because it's hard to explain. I will show you how a cross-section looks when you do a lot of small cuttings. It's not really clear. It looks like a pixel picture. But don't worry, I will show you. For now, because this is a new blade, so it should be very sharp. So you have from, I think it's from 0 to 3, the maximum amplitude.
Okay.
So I will just put it in the middle, 1.5, and see how it looks. And then here it says auto feed. Here you can see. And this changes the thickness of the cross section. So this is speed, this is amplitude, and this is auto feed here. So now it's set to make 80 micrometers cross section, the thickness of the cross section. So to change the thickness, you have to press auto feed, and then with this one you can change it. Here you can see. And here it's going by 100, so 100, 200, and so on. If you want to make, for example, a cross section of 151, you have to move it with this to 100, and then you can click step size, and you can see that it changes the value. So you have to move it to 10, and then you go to 150, and then you change to 1, and you move by 1 step, for example. And that's it. And in this case, I'm just going to do cross sections of 80 micrometers, because I don't know, I think it's good. And this button here turns on or off the light. I don't know why, but you can do it if you want. Okay, and that's all you need to configure here. But now there are other things to see. So this, so far we changed everything with this one up here, but you have this one another, and this changes the movement, so you can move the tray up or down. With this one you can do small movements. Can you hear? It's moving by 100 micrometers, so it's very small. And then you can click here, so you can see here it changes, right? You can see it's increasing or decreasing. When you have it in the position that you want, you press here and it's at 0 again.
Like a macro sensor set home.
Yeah, exactly. it's exactly the same.
Okay.
And this value is useful because let's say you have to make 15 cross sections. You won't stand here and wait all the 15. Maybe you go and do something else in the meantime. So let's say you start making the cross sections and you go to make a coffee, and then you come back and you say, oh, how many cross sections did the machine do in the meantime? So here it starts to count how many cross sections are. So if it is going to make cross sections of 80 micrometers, then when it does 1, here it will say 80. When it makes 2, it will say 160. When it does 3, 240, and so on. So that way you know how many cross sections are done already, in case you need to make a specific amount or at a specific position. But you need to tell the machine how thick you want the cross sections. It's not the same to cut a cross section of 400 micrometers to 80 micrometers. It's very different. So the cross sections, the machine doesn't do one cross section. It does how many cross sections you want and how thick you want the cross sections. So when you do a handheld cross section with your hand, that's maybe 400 micrometers thick. I don't know. Let's say as an idea. But this machine can do thinner cross sections, and they look better. That's why we have it. So that's the idea of this parameter. You want thin cross sections that look good in the microscope. So that's why you set the thickness. Okay, so now if I start the machine now, it will start cutting from this position, which is the default position, all the way back, and it will start to cut as long as it can all the way to the front. So you can see that it's going to take some time until it starts to cut the sample because it's far away.
Yes.
And that can be a waste of time. So to reduce that distance, we have two buttons here, these ones. So with this, you move the arm to the front, like this.
Okay.
So you can put it closer to the sample.
Yes.
And use with this up and down, you can also move the tray up or down, of course. So let's say we want to start cutting there, so we leave it like that, and then we can adjust how close the blade needs to be. Usually you want to leave the blade maybe a few millimeters behind, not very close, like that, for example. And then you need to tell the machine to remember this position. So it starts cutting from here. To do that, you have to press this button, and you see it's green now. And now every time it starts to make a cross section, it doesn't go all the way back. It will go to this position.
Okay.
And now we can do the same, but with the how much it's going to cut. And to do that, we need to move it a bit down now, and then we continue to go forward like this. And after a few millimeters, you press, and you have the position, you press the one down here. It moves back and forth in this range, not the whole range, but this specific range, so we don't have to waste time. Once you have the range adjusted, you go back. And you adjust then again the height, like that. And now you can see that it moved a lot, so you can reset to set home, let's say. And now it's ready, but before we need to put water here, so I will get some DI water. Just fill it. That. And well, everything is ready, so you just press start, run, or start, whatever, and it starts cutting. And the first cross section, you don't have to use it because it's really thick, because it's the first one. It's adjusted manually by me. But the second cross section, you have to wait, because when it does a very thick cutting, it needs a few cuts until it reaches again the sample, because it's a very thick, so it's not really precise. So you see now it's not cutting anything, because it has cut a very thick cube. And it's not really precise, so it needs a few movements until it reaches again the sample. So now it's not cutting again, you see, it's cutting nothing, but after a few movements it will start cutting. You will see now. And you can see it's adding all the cuttings. And I think now, yes, you can see now it's cutting the root. And to take it out, just use a brush. And you have the cross section there. Oh, here, sorry. Now it's not cutting, but you have to give it a few goes and then it will start cutting with the agar. You see there? The cross section with the agar, and it's another one over there as well. You see? So you can leave them there floating, and you can see that the machine just keeps cutting. It doesn't stop. You have to press when you are done, when you have the amount of cross sections you want, you press pause, and then stop, and it stops cutting. And that's it. And always remember to use a brush, so you can take out the samples like this. And then, if you want, you can just take one of these. And then you have to like move the agar a bit. Okay, there you go. You see? It's okay. Yeah. But you can see that it's hard to focus there. You see? Because it's fine.
Sometimes it's hard to focus.
Yes, you see, it's not the same here and here. So maybe we need to make slower cuts. I don't know. For the periodic acid, this is fine. So the problem with the agar is that you can see that when you take it out and you put it wherever you want to put it, it's hard to it's like this. It's not nice. It's not, yeah, exactly. So it can be hard to do the staining, because if you have the cross section here and the agar is all like this, it's not going to touch. So there is a way to remove the agar, which is heating a solution that we have in the lab to 70 degrees in the oven, and put these cross sections like this in that solution for 1 hour at 70 degrees, and it digests or removes the agar.
70.
Yes. So I won't do it now because I haven't done it never actually, so I want to do it another day. But that way you remove the agar, and it's easy to stain the cross sections, of course, because you don't have the agar. That's it.
That's it, yeah.
And then to clean it, you just I will do a few more. No, it's fine. So what you need to do is press down, so it moves all the way down, and also then move it back. And then you take out the sample. It's really easy, just do it like this. And then to remove this, you can use an old blade that is not used anymore, and then you just do like this. And that's it, to remove all the glue. And try to be careful with your fingers, and then just scrap like that to remove any remaining glue. And then you need to rinse with DI water and clean it So dry it, everything, take it to the lab, rinse it with DI water, and then dry it with a towel.
Okay.
And also don't forget, you have to also so when you finish, you take out the blade, and you also need to dry this because it's full of water. So you need to grab a paper towel and just do like this. So you dry it as well. And that's it. And also, I think, so in this case, I prepared these samples 1 week ago. And you can, if you keep it in the fridge, you can just keep them there some time. You don't have to do it right away or the next day. You can keep it some time in the fridge, and you can see that it's some bacteria growing. So you can't wait too long, but you can, this is a week or something, so you can do it, and then after a few days you can do this and do the staining, and it works the same way. This one is much better, it has no bacteria, so I could keep this longer. But the roots, they won't dry or anything because they are fixed in there, so you can keep them a couple of weeks, I think, so it's fine. Yes, that's it.